Vincent was born in the Netherlands in 1853. He was a quiet and serious boy. His father was a pastor. There were many fields, rivers, and farmers near Vincent's home. He loved nature from a young age. At 16, he started working for an art company. This job took him to big cities like London and Paris. He saw many paintings and learned a lot about art. But he was not happy. He fell in love with a woman, but she did not love him. This made him very sad. He also lost interest in his work. Finally, he lost his job. After that, Vincent wanted to become a pastor, like his father. He wanted to help poor people. He went to work as a pastor in a very poor coal mining area. He saw that the workers lived a hard life, without enough food and in small houses. Vincent wanted to help them. He gave all his money and food to them, leaving almost nothing for himself. He slept in a small hut. But the church people thought he was doing it wrong. They said, a pastor should not look like a poor man. They fired him. Vincent felt like a failure and was lost again. Vincent felt very lonely and sad. But he found a new way to express his feelings, painting. He started drawing the people and places he saw. He drew farmers, weavers, fields, and trees. He had no teacher and taught himself mostly. He drew very fast and used many dark colors, like brown and gray. These pictures looked somewhat dark and heavy, just like how he felt at the time. For example, he painted a picture called The Potato Eaters. It showed a poor family sitting around a table eating potatoes at night. The light was dim, and their faces looked rough from hard work. Vincent wanted to show their real life. His younger brother, Theo, worked in an art shop in Paris. Theo believed in Vincent and always sent him money to live on, and sent him paints and brushes. In return, Vincent would send his paintings to Theo. They wrote many letters to each other throughout their lives, and these letters tell us a lot about Vincent's thoughts and feelings. In 1886, Vincent moved to Paris to live with Theo. In Paris, he saw the work of the Impressionist painters. These painters liked to work outdoors. They used bright, vivid colors and quick, light brushstrokes. This changed everything for Vincent. In Paris, Vincent met other painters, like Paul Gauguin. He started using brighter colors. His paintings became quicker and had shorter brushstrokes. He painted flowers, cafes, and city scenes. His style began to change. But he argued with many artists, and after 2 years in Paris, he felt tired. He needed quiet and sunlight. In 1888, Vincent moved to a small town in the south of France called Arles. The sunlight there was bright and warm. The colors were very vivid. Vincent fell in love with it. He wrote, "The sun here has an effect I cannot describe. It turns everything golden." He rented a house in Arles and painted it bright yellow. He dreamed of turning this house into a home for artists, inviting other painters to come live and work together. He asked his friend Paul Gauguin to come live with him. In Arles, Vincent was very happy and created many of his most famous paintings. He painted his bedroom, the yellow house, cafes, and the people around him. He painted very much, very fast. Sometimes he finished a painting in one day. He loved painting sunflowers. He painted many pictures of sunflowers in a vase. The flowers were bright yellow, some were orange. They looked full of life. He wanted to decorate Gauguin's room with these paintings. He also painted night scenes. He painted a picture of a cafe, with yellow lights and a deep blue night sky. People sat outside. The painting felt both beautiful and a little sad. However, Vincent's mental state was not good. He worked too hard, did not eat enough, and drank too much alcohol. He often felt very agitated and restless. At the end of 1888, Paul Gauguin finally came to the Yellow House. At first, Vincent was very happy. The two painters worked together and discussed art. But they were both strong personalities and soon began to argue. They had different ideas about art. One night, they had a big fight. Vincent was very upset and angry. He took a razor and did a terrible thing. He cut off part of his own left ear. Then, he went to a local brothel and gave the ear to a woman there. The police found him bleeding in his bed and took him to the hospital. This event shocked the whole town. Theo came from Paris to help him. Vincent could not remember the event. He felt ashamed of what he had done. Gauguin left Arles quickly and returned to Paris. Vincent's dream of an artist's house was over. He was alone in the Yellow House. After Vincent recovered physically, he went back to painting. He even painted a self-portrait with a bandaged ear. But he now knew he was ill. He sometimes heard voices and felt dizzy. He would go back to the hospital. Even in the hospital, he continued painting when he felt well enough. He painted the hospital garden, the doctors, and the view from his window. When he couldn't go out, he painted from memory or from other pictures he had. He copied black and white prints he liked, but used his own bright colors. Some people in the town were afraid of him. They called him the red-headed madman and asked the mayor to lock him up. Finally, Vincent himself decided to go and live in a mental hospital in Saint-Remy, not far from Arles. In the mental hospital, Vincent had good times and bad times. When he felt well, he could paint in a room and was allowed into the garden. Sometimes, a guard would accompany him to paint outside the hospital. It was here that he painted some of his most famous works. He started painting the background in a new way, making it look like it was moving, full of energy. He painted cypress trees that looked like black flames reaching for the sky. He painted a night sky full of swirling blues, yellows, and whites. The moon and stars were surrounded by halos. This painting is called The Starry Night. It does not look like a real sky, but it is full of emotion. It lets us feel the beauty and power of the night, and perhaps the turmoil inside Vincent. He stayed at the mental hospital for a year. He painted over 150 pictures. Painting kept him sane and gave him a purpose in life. In May 1890, Vincent left the mental hospital. He moved to a small village near Paris called Auvers. A doctor named Dr. Guichet took care of him. Dr. Guichet also loved art and was a friend to painters. Vincent painted a portrait of him. Dr. Guichet looked a little sad in the painting. In Auvers, Vincent continued to paint at an amazing speed. In his last 70 days, he painted 70 pictures. He painted the village, the church, the fields, and the sky. He painted wheat fields, crows, and trees. His brush strokes were still fast and strong. But his inner pain did not go away. He worried he was a burden to Theo, who now had a wife and child and needed money. He felt he would never succeed, never sell any paintings. He felt terribly alone. On July 27, 1890, Vincent walked into a field with a gun. He shot himself in the chest. He did not die immediately. He walked back to his room. Doctors were called, but the wound was too severe. 2 days later, in the arms of his brother Theo, Vincent died. He was only 37 years old. When Vincent died, he was almost unknown. He had only sold one painting, The Red Vineyard. Theo was heartbroken by his brother's death. He became ill and died just 6 months after Vincent. Theo's wife, Jo, inherited all of Vincent's paintings and letters. Jo believed in Vincent's genius. She worked hard to show people his work. She organized exhibitions and published his letters. Slowly, people began to notice the paintings. They fell in love with the bright colors and strong emotions in them. Today, Vincent van Gogh is considered one of the greatest painters in history. His paintings hang in museums all over the world. Millions of people love them. One of his paintings can sell for millions of dollars. It is very sad because he never knew he would be successful in his lifetime. He thought he was a failure. But he never gave up painting. Painting was his life. Through his paintings, he showed us his way of seeing the world, full of beauty, color, and light. His story tells us that even when life is hard, we should follow our passion. True genius is sometimes not understood, but beauty and truth eventually find their way to the light.